Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Talk Thursdays. My name is Pascale Hansen. I'm the CEO, co-founder, and financial strategist at Zada, a consulting firm servicing North America. What makes us unique is that we partner with the best experts in every field of business to help champion the business growth of our clients, and Talk Thursdays are my conversations with some of them. I hope you enjoy this episode. And today I have the honor of sitting down with Jaap Siekman, who's a business coach. Welcome, Jaap.
Hey, Pascal. Great to see you again.
Likewise. So, Jaap, you're a business coach. I met a lot of different kinds of business coaches. So tell us a little bit about what makes you different as a business coach.
That is a really good question because it's sometimes confusing and it makes it a little bit more difficult to get to business owners and you tell them about how I do indeed differ from other business coaches. So there's a lot of business coaches out there that are very active on sales and marketing. They are sales marketing specialists, and that's what they focus on, and they help businesses to grow, their revenue through marketing and sales strategies and everything. There's also a lot of business coaches out there that are like leadership coaches or executive, and they work with the business owner as a person and overcome internal personal struggles that they have, and the fact that it's lonely at the top, and how do you perform better as a person. I do very little of all of that. I focus purely on the internal workings of the business. That's the operations, that's the organization, that's the work processes, that sort of things. And so I help business owners with improving that the way that the business runs. And that's really the big difference with all the other coaches out there.
Well, I know you have an engineering background, so I know you get into a lot of the technical details and the running of the machine, if you will. So that makes a lot of sense
Correct.
to me. So
Yeah,
speaking
correct.
of that, tell us a little bit about your background and where that engineering mind came from.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you mentioned, I'm an engineer by education. Mechanical. I've worked for 30 plus years in all kinds of manufacturing environments in Europe and in Ontario and over here. Engineering management, operations management, a lot of project management. Through the years, I had a lot of exposure to lean or continuous improvement, to quality systems. And then I went into more like business side of things, entrepreneurism. And that's how I, at one point about 5 years ago, decided to become an independent business coach, because through the interaction with a lot of young entrepreneurs, I realized that I had a lot to offer to these people in terms of all these aspects of running the business. And so that's how I got into it.
So making it a well-oiled machine, if you will. So tell me a little bit about your coaching program and what that looks like.
Yeah, good question. Generally, when I go in with a new client in a small business, the question is, or the ask is, to create operational and organizational change. And my first approach to that is really similar to when you go on a trip and you use Google Maps. What do? You type in your destination, you type in, or Google defines where you are at that moment, or where you want to start from. And then it comes with a roadmap. So I do the exact same thing. 3-step process. I work with the owner and the senior leadership about writing down a vision for the business, or in other words, a future state. That's not always a very simple discussion or exercise. Some owners haven't really thought about that, and to quantify what it is that they want is sometimes challenging, but they're always rewarding exercises, and it creates a lot of clarity. Second step is defining the current state. So all the weaknesses in the business. And so we do like a process map, we do open brainstorms with the management team, with the staff, to figure out where all the weaknesses are, where can we do better. We write down the current org chart. which generally is a little fuzzy, not very well organized, which is one of the reasons that I'm there. And so once we know where we want to head, where we are, we can create a action plan. And so long list of improvement projects. After that, we move on to a guided execution of some of the actions, implementation of changes. So I help them with, for example, improving certain processes. And then throughout, throughout the follow-up sessions, we talk about other topics like KPIs or key performance indicators, about project management, the theory of constraints. So what's holding up, for example, better productivity? What are the key constraints there? We talk about, for example, non-conformance reporting or NCRs and how that can help improve your processes. Building a quality management system or QMS. So all that kind of stuff, wherever they need some help, I provide that help. And that's and then generally after that, it comes down to one-on-ones with the owner every week, every 2 weeks, every month, to basically just to keep that going and provide a sounding board to that owner.
So I'm guessing, depending on how many things you have to fix, that could be a relatively long engagement, but you're looking at all the nuts and bolts of the business, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. So just running my core program that I dubbed Roots, Rocks, and Results is about 8 weeks. But one client, for example, an early client, I've been working with him for about 2.5 or 3 years.
Right.
And of course, the frequency, has dramatically reduced. But once in a while, we still get together and do some updates on where he is and talk about new hurdles or challenges. So they are long, or they can be long relationships.
Well, you need those check-ins and tune-ups, right? Whether it's your car or
Absolutely.
your business. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so what's your target market?
With my background in engineering, manufacturing, and everything, that's what I focus on. So blue collar industries. So that's manufacturing, construction, trades. I've worked with a cleaning company, so really blue collar industries, generally $1 to $10 million in revenue, so fairly small businesses, and 5 to 50 or 100 people.
Okay, that's
where my strength is.
Okay. And can you share a success story from one of those industries?
Oh, many.
Many. Okay, just give me one. Your favorite. You have a favorite? Yeah, many.
Yeah. No, it's that's a tough one to choose one, because there's the results are so different. So I mean, there's one guy that I've been working with for like 2.5 or 3 years. Started off with a while ago that he was not responding to my emails. Turned out he had been on vacation in Europe and Africa. He sent me some fantastic pictures, and so he had been gone for several weeks. And I asked him, like 2 years ago, would you have been able to do this? And he's like, hell no. Well, yeah, I could have gone, but then upon my return, it would have been a pile of problems and emails and things that would have stalled. And he's like, this time I check in with my management team, and everything good? Yeah, everything good. What are you doing here? Right. So he's
then
able
you're
to
also
go.
enjoying your vacation because you're not wondering about what's going on in the office and should you check your email or should you not?
Yeah, well, I think he's sort of still checked in on things, but really
Not constantly.
he was not needed anymore. And actually, that turned into sort of like a new challenge where he felt like he was not needed anymore, and so whole different mindset. But then this same guy, so we did a vision exercise like 2 years ago. And he had set a BHAG, or a big, hairy, audacious goal for 2028. So that's 5 years from now, 7 years at that time, to do 8 million.
Right.
And he is already slated to do 20 million next year.
Wow.
So he is overshooting his goals, by far. And so actually, yesterday I had a session with him to do a reevaluation of his goals, and we have been resetting those. And so it's to see a result, like that is just phenomenal. And he's like, yeah, it's crazy, what's happening.
Oh, that's fantastic. So
Yeah,
I guess what you like best about your work, because I can see the big smile on your face, is that has to be fulfilling when you're a part of
absolutely.
someone's success story, right?
Absolutely. It is those success stories at the end of the day, where these owners, they talk about, they mention, this kind of changes. Sometimes they mention things, and not even realizing how much of a change it is. And so I go back and I reflect on that. It's like, 6 months from now, or 6 months ago, or 2 months ago, or 2 years ago, your situation was so different. Do you realize that?
Yeah.
And let's celebrate that success, because that is important. But another part that I really, really like about my job is, in the beginning, when I go in and do these assessments with the management team or with their staff, it's just that collaboration. And for example, with the staff, when I do an open brainstorm with them about, tell me everything that you don't like about the business, where can we do better? And then see the engagement of the staff. And basically seeing them or hearing them complain, quote unquote,
Yeah.
about basically all the same things that the management team is complaining about. There's a lot of alignment there,
Right.
where people think, that there's misalignment, and there isn't. Everybody wants to do a good job. Everybody's proud of their skill sets, of their trade, and they feel that it's the management that is holding them back from achieving that. And so hearing all that and then changing that around, and you're changing the whole process and how they do business, and then seeing those results, it's super, super rewarding. And so that's really what I do this for.
Fantastic. And so
Yeah,
just to finish off, I'm going to ask you a question that has nothing to do with anything that you do on a day-to-day.
right.
And that question is, if you could have dinner with anyone dead or alive, famous or infamous, who would that person be and why?
Dinner. Dinner. Well, let's stay close to home, and that would probably be Jimmy Peterson.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Everybody loves him. He's awesome. Yeah.
And super interesting guy. Never met a guy, but you read about him, in the newspaper and everything. Seems like he has a phenomenal memory for names of his staff and everything. Super dedicated. He's like, how old is he now? 90 or something, still working every day.
Yeah.
Um,
7 in the
yeah,
morning, I think he's in there, and yeah.
and a very, very interesting person. So I would not mind having dinner with him.
Okay. Yeah, that's a great answer. So thank you so much for your time, Jaap. And for any of you listening, if you're a subscriber to Elevate, please check out Jaap's lessons in there. You'll learn a lot. He's very passionate about what he does, and he obviously does it very well. Thank you, Jaap.
Absolutely. And of course, they can always connect with me personally.
Of course. Check him out
Yeah.
on LinkedIn. Go find him
Thank
there.
you so much for having me, Pascale. Have a
Thank
great
you.
day.